Hi everyone, Eileen Bayer, the fam here. Welcome to episode 2 on Huntington's disease. For a recap, in episode 1, we went over what Huntington's disease is, and I gave you a brief description of the symptoms of it. In today's episode, we will be going over in detail what the symptoms of Huntington's disease is. And then Friday we will start going through juvenile Huntington's disease. So let's get started. One of the symptoms of Huntington's disease was movement disorder. The movement disorder associated with Huntington's disease can include both involuntary movement problems and impairments in voluntary movement, such as involuntarily jerking or writing movements, better known as chorea. So it's like a hand twitch, like you were writing. That could be part of Huntington's disease. Muscle problems such as rigidity or muscle contractures, otherwise known as dystonia. Slow or abnormal eye movements, impaired gait, posture, and balance. Difficulty with physical production of speech or swallowing, which means they may drool because they can't swallow, like you and I can. And their speech may be a little slurred. Okay. Impairments in involuntary movements rather than the voluntary movements may have a greater impact on a person's ability to work, perform daily activities, communicate, and remain independent. The second stage is like congenital disorders. This is another thing that affects people with Huntington's. Like I said, the first one that they go through was just the movement, but they also suffer congenital disorders. And the congenital impairments often associated with Huntington's disease will include difficulty organizing, prioritizing or focusing on tasks, lack of flexibility or the tendency to get stuck on a thought, behavior, or action. We call that preservation. Lack of impulse control that can reflect in an outburst, acting without thinking, and sexual promiscuity. Lack of awareness of one's own behaviors and abilities, slowness in processing thoughts or finding words, difficulties in learning new information. And these are all the things that affect them congenitally. And the other area that it affects is their psyche. Psychiatric disorders associated with Huntington's disease, which will include the most common psychiatric disorder associated with Huntington's disease is depression. Now, this isn't simply a reaction to receiving a diagnosis of Huntington's disease. Instead, depression appears to occur because of the injury to the brain and subsequent changes in brain functions. As you can see, here is a normal brain, and here is one with Huntington's disease. You can see this here is distorted, and the red section area is different. This area is different than this. So Huntington's is another one that severely affects the brain. Okay? So some of the signs and symptoms of the psychiatric part of Huntington's disease is feelings of irritability, sadness, or apathy, social withdrawal, insomnia, fatigue and loss of energy, frequent thoughts of death, dying, or suicide. Other common psychiatric disorders include obsessive compulsive disorder, better known as OCD, which, as a refresher, is a condition marked by recurrent, intrusive thoughts and behavior. Mania, which we also covered a little bit of, which can cause elated moods, overactivity, impulse behavior, and inflated self-esteem. And bipolar disorder, which is another one that we covered, which is a condition with alternating episodes of depression and mania. In addition to the above symptoms, weight loss is common in people with Huntington's disease, especially as the disease progresses. So you see, there's a lot involved with Huntington's disease, and this is why it's also good to know the other things that's going on, the other types of mental illnesses, because a lot of them interact with certain other diseases, as you just found out. We covered OCD. We covered manic depressants. We covered bipolar. And all three of them are associated or can be associated with Huntington's disease. So this is why it's good to have a knowledge on mental illness, because it's a stigma that people think that's not important, and people prejudge people by it, which it's not right. So this is why I go through everything with mental health, is to give you the information you need to be better equipped to deal with loved ones or people close to you, or even friends that may have a mental illness. It gives you the insight so you know a little bit about it and you can handle things better. And most of all, you don't prejudge them. Because as you see, a lot of these, when they go through like mania, in their severe bouts of depression, if you judge somebody and you don't know what they're going through, you could be the one to cause them to take their life. So knowledge is power. And that's what I want to do, is empower you with the knowledge, so you can learn to see with your heart and not your eyes. Because when you see with your eyes, you don't see what they're going through. You don't know what they have and what causes it and everything. But with this knowledge, it enables you to see from the heart, from inside out instead of outside in. And that's my goal here. And I hope that these series have been helping give you a better understanding. I ask that you please watch the video from the beginning to the end so you get a full understanding. And don't just watch. If you're, don't come into the middle of it. If you're new to my channel, catch the first one on that disorder. Because when you catch the first one, you'll be doing better. Okay? And that's what this is about. So remember, always see with the heart and not the eyes, because what the eye sees is not important. But what is important is what's invisible to the eye and only visible through the heart. Your words can either kill or lift somebody up. Instead of tearing somebody down, let them lift you up. Lift others up as I try to lift others up. And remember, until we talk again, I love you, because you are important to me. You matter. Yes, you. You out there, I see you. I see you with my heart, and I love you for you. You were uniquely made and wonderfully created. So until we see you again, have an awesome, awesome day.